Sometimes, when a unique and special property comes along, the best way to showcase it is by meeting the people who own it.
Hello, Josh. Hi, Bethany.
Hi,
Hi.
How are you?
doing very well, thank you.
Awesome. So, Bethany and Josh are the owners of 1 Dunning Way, Unit 121. It is a property that we've had on the market through this fall. And we want to chat a little bit with you about why you bought the place, what you loved about it, and give our prospective buyers some insight into this property. Before we get into it, I just want to let people know this property is a 2+ bedroom, 1 bath unit in the Arborway Gardens complex over in JP by the courthouse. And Josh and Bethany have been there for a really long time, so they have some really good insight into the unit and the neighborhood. So tell us a little bit about, when did you buy the house, the condo?
So we bought it in the summer into the fall of 2006. So this was, we were moving to Boston for graduate school, and we were looking for a little place to buy for our young family. And when we walked into the property, it just felt really open and light, and I loved the courtyards and the green space that was around it. It was awesome to have a private entrance. That was something that was important to us, and it just seemed to work. It was close to a train so that we could get to grad school, and the neighborhood was adorable, so we were super excited to be in Jamaica Plain.
Awesome.
In a lot of ways, we were really lucky. We didn't know much about Boston. I wanted to be able to use public transportation to get to and from school. And Bethany needed to drive to work, to commute to work, and it had its own parking space.
Mm-hmm.
It was, you could get to where you needed to on Route 9 or 93, not too far either way. And it was easy for me to use public transportation. The Forest Hill stop has the orange line, but it's also a commuter rail stop and a bus stop. So I've been able to get anywhere I've needed to get in the 15 years that we lived there, pretty quick and easy using that stop.
That's great, and that led into my next question about how long you were there. So I was trying to do the math in my head, but it was like 15 years in this unit, right?
Yes, it was.
We probably, when we moved there, we saw it as a great starter home. And then when it came time to start thinking about, do we want to go to the next step? We ended up deciding to stay there for a lot longer because we really loved the neighborhood. We loved the restaurants, and we loved the sort of the culture of JP, the parks, and so we moved now just because we have family in another state and we're moving to be closer to them. Otherwise, we would just be staying in that house for indefinitely.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
It's an awesome space. And obviously the people who are watching now don't know much about the unit yet. It's a garden level, and that can be challenging because a lot of people want to live on the top floor, And so when we talk about this unit, it's special because it's really quaint and sweet, and it's got great space. I mean, the rooms are a nice size. And Bethany, you said something to me one day about why you loved the garden level so much. And I would love for you to share that, because I think it's really a sweet perspective.
Well, one wonderful part of the garden unit is it's on a hill, so it's slanted, and so some of the windows are up 100% above ground, and then others are just kind of nestled, like in the living room. It feels like you're nestled in the ground, and it's really beautiful watching the snowstorms in the winter, and you just feel warm and cozy, and get the blankets out, and you can watch the snowfall, and you're like, oh, I'm warm and I don't have to be out in this right now.
It reminded me when you said that of like a little den, you know what I mean? Like a little den for your family.
So often when we talk to friends about, like, we live in a place that's partially below grade, they'd be like, oh, that's great for insulation. It seemed kind of sort of quaint and obvious, but it really was true. We were able to cool the entire unit using a window air conditioner, and it would, and often I would walk in summer, it would be warm outside, and come in, it was still nice and cool on the inside.
Mhm.
And in the winter, it would get very warm in there and keep that heat really. So the insulation actually did help a lot. It was very energy efficient.
Mhm.
And there's still full light coming in through all of the windows. So
Yep.
it didn't feel like what you normally think of as a garden.
Yeah.
Though you have to be the type of person that kind of likes the idea of living in a garden, and we
Mhm.
we didn't have a specific place in mind, and it when we moved, and this ended up being a place, and that was sort of fine with us. You
Yeah.
get more space
Mhm.
because that's the one place that's that level in the whole complex, and you get your own entrance because of it.
Right.
Another thing that I hadn't mentioned to you is that in the spring, because on one of the windows you get to actually stand and watch the tulips and the crocuses coming out
And the
too,
daffodils.
and the daffodils, and it's just, and you're like in it. It feels like you're
Yeah.
waking
Sweet.
up with it. Yeah.
It's a condo for all seasons, really. See that?
Yeah, totally.
So we have put a little work into the condo to get it ready for sale. I just want to let people know that it's been freshly painted throughout, a nice neutral gray. The kitchen has been painted. The bathroom is fairly updated recently. And I want to specifically focus on that entry room because public records, public records is public records. The public records list this unit as a 3-bed. And because that front room has a closet. But
Yes.
for all intent and purposes, it's not really a bedroom. And that's okay, because I think what happens is that room really then lends itself to like anything you want it to be. Obviously, with the coronavirus pandemic, we've been, working from home is a huge deal. So when we've been marketing this property, we've been talking about, work from home space, kid space, yoga, playroom. Can you tell me over the years how you've utilized that space to your advantage?
Absolutely. So that used to be my little greenhouse in the house. So I actually had a lot of green plants and grow lights, and it was also a space that our cat hung out, was there.
We used it as an office.
We did for an office for a long time. It's had many kind of a little mini library because it has those built-in shelves. It's just been a really lovely space. It's been almost everything. It's kind of the all-purpose room.
It has some versatility because you do have 2 entrances. There's one in the back that goes into sort of what most likely will be used as a dining area, and the one in the front that's dedicated. So, I mean, it's conceivable if you wanted to use it as the 3rd bedroom, you could do that and use the other entrance. Or you could, all the things you listed, but I think it makes a lot of sense as an office, or just a general entry area.
Yeah. I know one prospective buyer came through, and they were talking about, because that living room is so big, that they were talking about, like, if you had 3 students or grad students living together, you could do the dining room as a bedroom and then the other 2 bedrooms, and leave that as just the entryway, but that you don't really need a dining room if there are 3 college students, you know what I mean? And the living room is so large enough. And so, the point being is that there's flexibility with the space as well, that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rooms really that can, I mean, the kitchen has to stay the kitchen, but all the other rooms can be really flexible in terms of how you use them. So well, is there anything else that you would like to add? Again, we're going to send this out to prospective buyers who want to hear more about why you chose to live there, what you loved about the place. Any final thoughts?
We chose to live there. I mean, we got lucky in finding it. We chose it because it was accessible to us, because it was a little more affordable, having partially below grade. But that, I think, is an advantage for anybody who's looking for a starter home.
Absolutely.
The things that they need access. They're moving to the city to work, or they want to live in JP specifically. So that's what helped us find it. But we stayed there for so long because we really, really did love that specific community.
And the neighbors are really friendly. Everyone walks their dogs and says hello. And it's really nice to just, it feels like a little mini oasis in the city. It
Yeah.
felt so green
It is.
and
It's like a
lovely.
little. It's like a little garden community. It's very sweet
Mhm.
over there. Well, I know for a fact, because I've been over there, that your neighbors miss you because I've met a
Oh,
number
yeah.
of them.
They're
So
so kind.
I'm saying that because A, I want you to know, but also because it really, truly, I mean, people have come up to me, oh, you're Bethany and Josh's real estate agent. We love them, you know, and so you can tell that
Yay.
people, you know, are connected in some way. So, well, thank you so much for hanging out with me for a short bit. And for those of you who are watching and are interested in learning more about the property, you know, we'll put our contact information up and you know how to reach me typically. So we are looking for the next awesome owner of this unit. And thank you again, both of you so much for doing this. We'd like to, again, give a little bit of an intimate look at the behind the scenes of why this home is so awesome. And it was really so loved for 15 plus years. So on to the next owner